once you let the darkness inside, it never comes out.
What are you gonna do? Kill me?
What's that? What are you doing?
Painkillers.
Oh, for you, for your leg.
No, because they're yummy.
But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too stoned to
Just paying attention. I've been watching you and your husband. I understand what you're feeling right now.
You have no idea.
Honestly, it's not as bad as it looks.
Classic Red John smiley face. Drawn in the victim's blood. Gloves with 3 fingers. And
Only then do you see the body of the victim.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
You are welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the main discussion, and we are discussing road safety for all motorists and pedestrians, all road users alike. And you are encouraged to send in your questions, suggestions, comments to our Facebook live stream, YouTube live stream. And we are discussing road safety with Mr. Felix Owusu. He's the planning manager of the National Road Safety Authority. So yes, let's get back into our conversation. What are some of the measures that can be taken to reduce the risk of accidents and injuries for all road users? So all road users means the pedestrians, motorists, and then also the authorities here.
So what are some of the measures that can be
Yes.
taken? Well, so you can look at the measures can be very, huge.
Okay.
So using to prevent.
Yeah.
So using the 4E. So I'll just take out the last one, which is
Okay.
the emergency, because to prevent means the crash shouldn't even happen. So looking at the first one, which is the education, engineering, and then enforcement.
Yes.
So with this one, if the National Road Safety Authority, so it cuts across again.
Okay.
So it's not just one-sided or one institution. It cuts across. So the National Road Safety Authority is doing the education for road users now. So one of the things is, or even to let, first of all, road users know that the dangers or the risks you are likely to face when you're on the road. Because if you do not know, how do you even be aware of such things and then prevent yourself? Because I think the best form to prevent oneself from these things is for yourself to take very good care of yourself.
Okay.
Because once you get there and then you are not careful, some of these things can happen. So we're doing the education, and then let's say if the enforcement bit too is also solid, because education without enforcement, as we say, is just entertainment for people over and over. We've said as for the education, it goes almost all the time.
Okay.
People know, or road users know, you are not supposed to be using your phones whilst the vehicle is in motion, whilst driving. But what do we see on our roads?
Yeah.
Almost everybody is doing it because, there's nobody to enforce, or there's nobody, because you have not been spotted by either an enforcement agent, so we think you are free. But these are some of the things we need to. So once the enforcement, because like you mentioned, the speed, there are speed limits on all of our roads, but people do not respect those speed limits. So we are all driving, doing higher than the posted speed limits that we have on our road. So then again, because of enforcement. Now, we can also talk about the road itself, the road and its furniture. So if there are any section of the road is not, or there are defects, we identify those defects early and then provide solutions or fix them in time before those defects leads to a crash. So these are some of the things we can. So from the education-based enforcement and then the engineering and the design. While the media, of course, when it comes to education, like I said, the media, we cannot take the media out of this education. So all of us, the traditional authorities, religious bodies, everyone, the NGOs, everybody's helping in education. Whilst we, the road users ourselves too, we are at least being obedient or disciplined ourselves.
Okay.
Because in all this, with all the education, if we are still not disciplined, we still come back to square one.
Okay. So you mentioned a few, for lack of a better word, misbehaviors that some motorists have or partake in. That is using the phones on the road while the car is in motion. So can you give us a few other, more practices? Yes, that's the right word.
All right. So in fact, now when we talk about crashes,
yes,
okay, or what you call accident, or if you want to talk about the causes of road traffic crashes, okay, there are three main causes of road traffic crashes. One of them, we can talk about the human errors. Okay, human errors. We also have mechanical errors, and then the road itself or bad weather conditions.
Okay.
So now, when it comes to the human errors, now research has shown that almost between 90 to 94% of all the crashes we see on our roads are as a result of the human errors.
Okay.
Now, when we say human errors, we don't mean drivers or driver errors. We are saying human errors, and human errors cut across. So always I use myself as an example. Let's use institutional errors.
Okay.
First of all, so if the National Road Safety Authority, for example, I'm supposed to go out to schools to educate pedestrians on how to safely use the road or cross the road, and I don't go to do my education. So once I don't go, it means the students or pedestrians do not even know how to safely use the road. So they get to the road environment and they are crossing anyhow, and cars or vehicles are knocking them. So that is on my part. It's a failure on my part. Now, the road agencies, they are supposed to construct the roads and maintain whether the road line markings, the street lights, and street lights, once the road is constructed and handed over, for some time, it's assemblies, they take care of this, the street lights. So when the street lights are not functioning, it is the work of the assemblies, the local assemblies, to maintain those ones. The traffic lights, like I said, are the urban roads. It's the responsibility of the urban roads. So if all these things are there and then they are also not fixing them, okay, it can also lead to. So those, as part of the human errors on the part of institutions. Now the police, let me bring them in. They are supposed to make sure motorists or road users obey the road traffic regulations. And when somebody flouts, they apprehend the person, take the person through the right channel for them to be reformed by either paying a fine or going to prison or sometimes even caution notices. But see, let's say if a police officer spots a driver who is driving without a license, or the person is not licensed to drive. Once you are not licensed, you don't have a license. It means you do not have any business driving the vehicle. You don't have any business being on the road as a driver or a motor rider. So what happens if the police officer decides to, let's say, take some small money, which I'm not saying that's what they do, but in case a police officer decides to take money and allow such a driver to go, and within or during the journey, the person do not end the journey, but whether kills, who caused it? That means the police officer also has a role to play. In the same way, DVLA, like I said, their mandate is to make sure we have quality drivers and vehicles on our roads. So if someone do not even go through the right training and the person is issued a license, which is a possibility. We hear of such stories that people do not even go to DVLA, meanwhile they get a license. All these people are on the road. Okay, increasing the risks on the road. So those are some of the things that can. Now, when it comes to the individual, the things or the things we do on our roads that could contribute to the crashes, then we can talk about the speeding. Of course, all the fatal crashes, or if we say a crash, and this is also another thing we should all learn. Once you say a crash is fatal, it means somebody has died. Sometimes you hear some of the crashes and people say, oh, there's a fatal crash. But meanwhile, when you go and inquire into it, nobody dies. So you do not classify that crash as fatal. Okay. But we have serious injuries and serious crashes and all that. So please, now, if somebody is speeding, okay, it gives you less time to react when there's any case of anything. and also reduces your braking distance because you need some time to think and then react. But once you are speeding, all those things are reduced, and so most of the crashes that we see on our roads as a result of because they are unable to control the vehicle. And so, talking about speed, every road has its own speed limit.
Yeah, we will come to this shortly.
Now, apart from the speeding, we also have distracted driving.
Okay.
That's the use of mobile phone, or sometimes you could even just be conversing with the passenger in the vehicle. So you take your eyes off the road and be conversing with them, or even playing or trying to change something on your radio set, or even watching something outside. These are all forms of distraction.
Okay.
Then some people, the use of alcohol and drugs. Okay, so that's a chemical impairment.
Okay.
So once you use alcohol and drugs, sometimes it impairs your sense of judgment, and then you'll be driving at 80 thinking you're at 20. Okay, so all these things are part of the human errors.
Okay.
The other forms, fatigue comes in.
Yes.
You are tired, driving tired. Okay, some people, poor driving skills and inexperience, all those things count. Now, when we come to the mechanical has to do with everything concerning the vehicle. Okay, so the vehicle, I mean, there are so many things. It can be a failure in the brakes, okay, or it can be even your lighting system. Sometimes at night, you'll be driving, you see a style specification in it. So if you have even two lights and you put them in the middle, it is not right. So National Road Safety Authority, in collaboration with the MTT, we're doing some kind of coordinating enforcement where we're removing some of these unprescribed lamps from the vehicle. And any light that is also that when you switch on your headlights, it projects above the bottom of your windscreen. It is also unlawful.
Okay.
So anybody who puts those lights on the roof of the vehicle, all those lights are unlawful. So when we see them, we take them down.
Okay.
Okay, so the same thing when it comes to, so these are a conversation. I think it's a whole, we can use one session to talk about it. So that's with the lights.
Okay.
So apart from the lights, one other important thing is the tires.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, most of you, when you go out, most of the tires you see under our vehicles are sometimes either snow tires or they are even expired tires.
Okay.
Very bad.
So tires expire.
Yes. Per our regulations. But I know it is being reviewed. Before it was regulation, I think 64 or so. It tells you about the law says that do not use a tire that is more than 4 years from the date of manufacture.
Okay. So is it that the material used to manufacture it tends to get compromised after 4 years, or?
Yeah, so in fact, even the 4 years, it's not all the tires. You know, some of they had different brands.
Yes.
Some of the tires can do more than 4 years. But in Ghana, the general rule was 4 years. But now it is being reviewed.
Okay.
It is being. I do not know the number of years they added.
Okay.
So when I think I'll finish with that. It is
But-
being reviewed.
okay.
But then what I want us to know is that, so the tires have dates on them.
Okay.
Date of manufacture. The dates you see on the tires are date of manufacture, but not the expiry date.
Okay.
So when you see if you're able to read,
Okay.
it tells you when the tire was manufactured. And so if the law is saying do not use a tire that's more than 4 or 6 years, you add the 6 years.
Okay.
So if you are going to buy a tire and you check the date and you add the number of years and has already elapsed, you don't buy.
Okay.
You were asking if the material is that. Yes, of course. The tire is made of rubber.
Okay.
And you and I know, even when you buy your new shoes,
Yes.
you keep it in your room and you don't wear it. So, like, let's say you keep it for so long and you don't wear it. So, at a point when you pick it up, that new shoe that you bought and you wear, what happens to it?
It can fall apart.
The
yes.
same thing. Now, the sad part of the whole thing is that most of the tires we use in Ghana here are what we call the home use tires.
Okay.
And the situation is worse because of how they even store the tires.
Okay.
Even you having the rubber in your room, when you bring it out, it gets torn and all that. Now, how they store it, even on the rain, in the sun, 24/7, rain is beating it, the sun is hitting it. So the rate at which that even tire deteriorates is faster.
Okay.
So it's something you don't see with your eye, but inside, within,
Yes.
the cords and everything, they are breaking away. So you may think you bought a new tire. And when so most of the time, or some of the accidents we happen to experience, sometimes tire burst on the motorway because of the way the tire also heats up when it's running on the streets. Of course, the roads are already hot, and the tire is not being good. So the least thing, then the whole thing comes off. So that's for the tire safety education. It's something we are also taking seriously, and we go in depth when we get the opportunity. We have a whole list of presentation and some practicals we do to let the driving or the motoring public know what they are supposed to do before you even purchase a tire or select a vehicle tire for. And then the snow tires are not good for our weather here.
Okay.
Yeah, so most of the tires you see them they are all snow tires.
Okay, so what's the difference between the snow tire and then the...
Yeah, so it all has to do with the tread, or what people call the teeth of the tire. Most of the time when they are going to buy tires, unfortunately they want the ones with the very strong or high teeth, as they call it, but it's called thread. Okay, so when you look at the surface, most of the time the snow tires have very rough surfaces.
Okay.
But then the tropical ones has
smooth.
some it's a bit of it's smooth. Okay. Now the difference is that in the temperate regions, that's those snow areas, because of the snow, you need a rough surface to be able to drag the tire.
Through, yeah.
But we don't need that here. Now
but we also have
unfortunately
roads,
when no, it's not about bad roads. Our roads are not bad in terms of snow is smooth.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so you need a rough surface to be able to drag or walk.
Then
but ours is already rough, so you don't need that rough.
Yeah, like you see sometimes in the muddy areas when it rains, if your tire is smooth, it's more difficult to come out.
Smooth in terms of I'm just relating it to.
Okay,
it's not like it is smooth.
Okay,
no, it also has some kind of thread.
Okay.
But it is not smooth in comparison.
Okay.
Yeah, in comparison, this is more like. If unfortunately I do not have, I have pictures here, but I cannot show you. Okay. Yeah. So now one disadvantage is that using the snow tire is that because of the rough surface, you need more force to be able to drag it. So it consumes a lot of fuel, and also because it is not designed to withstand too much heat. Or to dissipate heat. Yeah. Sometimes when you run at a very high speed and then it heats up, it can also blast. So those are but then the other tropical ones, which is classified either temperature class A or B, is able to withstand heat. So even when you drive or travel at long speeds, it is able to contain the heat so that it do not blast.
Okay. Yes. So thank you so much. We have a question here. Please, let us try to employ some diplomacy when we are sending in our questions. I understand that the country is hot, we are frustrated, but let's please be polite. So I will try to filter this question. Please ask him which socials they use to educate, because I don't remember seeing any of their posts on educating people. So yes, you mentioned education and even with the media houses sometimes. So
yeah, so I think after Instagram and they are all there, Facebook.
So the NRSA has accounts on the various social media platforms. What about media houses? Aside today being here on Clock TV.
Yeah, so like I said, almost in Accra, maybe unfortunately you may not the time that they should, because GTV, Adam, TV3, Angel, Atinka, we are always there. Top. Personally, I go on top TV. Just I think on Monday there's this news station at Manya 7DS TV. I was there on Monday, I think, and we have a lot of even advocates who are always almost every day on TV doing some of these things.
All right. So there's another question here, Ms. Yaira. Your guest said one of their functions is reducing road accidents or crashes and developing road safety policies. So how is their engagement with the DVLA in developing any or better road safety policies to curb these high accidents?
Yeah, so like I said, so some of the interventions or policies you see even in the airline, for instance, these are all things. The National Road Safety Authority did not sit on its own to develop some of these things. So the police, the major stakeholders, even including the
DVLA,
NGOs, they all come into sometimes. So like I said, even with the amendment they are doing to the LI, some parts, of course, they would all seek input from all these stakeholders and then have it as a whole and then present. So these are some of the. So it is not only, in fact, it's not only DVLA, but of course the road agencies are also there, the police, the media, traditional authorities and opinion, they all come and then seek input from them before they develop some of these things.
So can you give us a few types of roads and then the speed limits that I'm not sure it's the NRC that determines that, but if you can give us just a little information on some of the types of roads we have in Ghana and the speed limits for each of them.
Yeah, so when it comes to roads, of course, we have the highways are there. Then we also have the urban roads and then even feeder roads. And it depends on the function, even the volume of traffic, and the location determines whether it is a highway, it's an urban road, or a feeder road. So normally with the highways, these are roads connecting major cities and towns and even regions. And it carries high volumes of vehicles. Yeah, with the heavy trucks and all that. And then when you come to with regards to the urban roads, so the traffic or the kind of, we have a mixture of vehicles like the smaller cars and together with the big cars, the buses running through, and then the location as well. So it passes through the towns, yes, and cities. Okay, then of course we come lower to the other side, which is the feeder roads. Okay, so now when it comes to the route, the classification and the speed limit. Now the law is saying that when you are within a built-up area or the town or built-up area, you do your 50 kilometers per hour maximum. 50 kilometers per hour. That is the maximum.
So
when you are within the urban center. Now, it is because in the urban center, it is believed that sometimes you have people crossing the road and all that, so you have to reduce your speeds. Now, when we even get to places where, even still within the urban center, where you have schools, markets, hospitals, because as for those places, people will be crossing the road often, then you further reduce the speed to 30 kilometers per hour. That's what the law. And in fact, this one is a general speed limit. I think it's regulation 184 or so. 183. 183, regulation 183, if I'll maybe confirm, but it's regulation 183. There's general speed limit and specific. Now, so like I said, around school zones, the markets, hospitals, community centers, 30 kilometers per hour. The same when you're approaching the construction zone, it's still 30 kilometers per hour. Now, when you're on the highway, then you can be doing your 90 kilometers per hour, because on the highway, like I said, it connects major cities and towns and regions. So that one, the kind of human interaction is not that much. So you are able to drive through. Now, there's even motorway. That is also a separate. So on the motorway, per the law, that's the only place, per the existing law, that's the only place you can be doing up to 100 kilometers per hour. So in Ghana here, it's the motorway that you can do up to 100 kilometers. So any speed beyond 100 kilometers in Ghana here, it is unlawful. So you can be arrested even on the motorway when you're doing more than 100 kilometers per hour. But now, you see, even our motorway, it isn't even a motorway anymore. No, because people cross the road here and then. So please, even with that one, we advise that when we get there, even though it is 100, still classified at 100, let's also reduce. Even there's an advocacy for us to even look at reclassify that route to reduce the speed further down. Yeah, so those are some of the conversations.
So
like I imagine, remember I said there's a general speed limit and a specific. Now, even though the law is saying that on the highway you can be doing 90 and then the motorway 100, the law is further says that there are other, so like buses and let's say those heavy duty trucks. When they are not loaded, they can do the 80 kilometers on the highway, which is ordinarily 90. But if they are loaded with goods, then the maximum they can go is 75 kilometers per hour. The same thing applies to the buses loaded with passengers. So it means even though on the motorway it is 100, but if you are loaded with passengers,
you have to reduce
you have to reduce maybe 80 kilometers per hour. You cannot do the 100. As the law is saying.
So my last question before we take your closing remarks, what is the function of the footbridge, or when is it truly needed?
When is it?
A footbridge, yes.
Okay, so the footbridge is one of the as we've been teaching pedestrians, one of the safe places you can, or in fact, it's the safest place you can cross the road from.
Okay.
So as a pedestrian, I mean, this is one of the educational content that we teach.
Yeah.
So as a pedestrian, I mean, there are some safe places you can cross the road from. One of them is the traffic light. We also have the zebra crossing or crosswalk.
Yes.
Then you have the footbridge.
Okay.
But we always tell pedestrians that if you are faced with this or you have this three, always go for the footbridge, because on the footbridge you are rest assured no car will pass there.
Yes.
Because sometimes even on the zebra crossing, when you are crossing the road, some vehicles will still speed
Yes.
and claim they didn't see you. And
Yes.
sometimes you have to even run back,
Yeah.
which is an offense anyway. For a driver to speed, for a pedestrian to walk back,
Okay.
it is an offense. When they see you, they can be arrested. Okay, and the same thing that at the traffic lights, sometimes it is red, drivers still run through the red lights. So the footbridge is the safest.
Okay.
Okay, and of course, if you don't have any of these three, you don't have the footbridge, you don't have the footbridge, you don't have the traffic lights, you don't have the zebra crossing. Normally, what we do is we perform what we call the curb drill.
Okay.
That is looking to your left, your right, and left again. If there's no car coming, then you cross the road.
Okay.
But you don't run when you're crossing the road.
Okay.
You don't run when you're crossing the road. So please, as a driver, if you stop for a pedestrian, don't expect the person to run and cross the road. But as pedestrian, you also don't model, especially the ladies. That is not the place for you to model, but you walk briskly or hurriedly.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you cross, please learn to say thank you. Yes.
So yes, this was supposed to be my last question, but so about the footbridge again, is it how do I even frame this question? Okay, so are the footbridges put on highways or they are put on urban roads or feeder roads? Where are they like specifically supposed to be?
Yeah. So it depends. Again, it depends on the necessity or the demand.
Okay.
Well, I don't see I've not seen a footbridge on a feeder road.
Okay.
But it can happen on a highway
Okay.
or even an urban road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about the motorway?
Yeah. So
Because
even
I'm sure, like,
so
our
even motorway now,
yeah.
I think that's what people are even advocating for,
Yes.
because whether you like it or not, people are crossing.
Yes.
And people are getting knocked down almost every day. And so people are advocating that we have, and of course, you know, the motorway, there was earlier conversation that it's being redeveloped.
Yes.
So I'm sure once it is done, there will be such considerations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Felix. So what would be your closing remarks to our viewers?
All right, so what I want to say from the National Road Safety point of view is that we are saying that once we are all road users, we should know that there are so many risks, and this I keep saying, there are so many risks on our roads, especially in Ghana here. Okay, what are some of the risks? Like I mentioned, some of the drivers or riders who are on our roads are not qualified to be there.
Yeah.
That is one. The vehicles we are driving, some of the vehicles are not safe. The roads themselves are also not safe. We have a lot of broken down and abandoned vehicles without placing any advanced warning device on the roads. We have pedestrians who do not even know how to use the road, whether how to cross the road or even how to use the road. And you have hawkers on the road. Now beggars,
Yes.
animals crossing, a lot of madmen, potholes, a lot. Traffic lights may not be working, street lights may not. So look at all these challenges or risks on that road. So once you know that these things are there, when you get to the road, I don't think you'll be playing on the road. The road is not a place for us to play. So please, whether you're a rider, you're a driver, you're a pedestrian, you're a passenger, all we are saying is when you get to the road, just concentrate and know the kind of behavior you portray out there, because everything you do can cause your reaction or inaction can cause a crash. And so we want all of us to stay alive, because Ghana needs you alive, especially as we are moving towards the election years. Per our records, almost all the election years, we see the crashes soaring higher.
Especially
and
for
so
the
please,
celebrations,
we just want to plead with all of us, especially those who ride the motorbike, that don't, if you want to ride your motorbike, please make sure you are in the right apparel or equipment, your helmet and other jackets. Please wear them, and your boots, safety boots as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix Owusu. This is the we have one more question. It says, please ask him if you need a license to ride a Suron or Saron. I think it's a type of motorbike.
Once it's a motorized, you need a. If it's motorized?
Yeah, it is. Okay, it's yes. So it looks like a bike.
This is a motorbike.
Okay, so you need a license
of
to ride
course, you
this.
need a license A.
Okay.
So when you go to DVLA, you'll be trained on how. Once it is motorized. So.
Okay, so my dear viewer, you need a motor license
Which
A.
is license A.
Okay, to ride this bike.
For only,
that you sent.
so license A is for only motorcycles.
Okay.
So sometimes you can have license A and B combined, meaning you can ride a bike and you can drive a class B vehicle. But if you have a class B vehicle, you cannot ride a motorcycle.
Okay.
You need a license A to ride a motorbike. So that's the mistake people do. Once you think you have a license, even if you have F and you do not have the A, don't go and ride.
Okay.
So you need the A to ride a bicycle. The motorbike.
Okay. I'm sure we will contact somebody from DVLA to come and give us the nitty-gritty for our road regulations, to be able to learn how to use the road properly in the cars as well as the bikes. So this brings us to the end of this conversation. Next, after this short break, we'll be talking to the lady who puts me in this beautiful outfit, and also just market her a little so that you can contact her so she makes you look as fabulous as I do. Right after this break, we'll be speaking with Miss Blessing Lati.
Can I say hello to my brother?
Oh, shit. Maybe after that.
Clog TV. Beyond the Policy.
I just want to take a moment and thank everyone in law enforcement who helped us in the search for our beloved daughter.
There's no point hiding things from me.
You're psychic?
No, just paying attention. I've been watching you and your husband. I understand what you're feeling right now.
You have no idea.
I do. I know. Did you kill your daughter?
How dare you?
Did you kill your daughter?
Jude, please.
Honestly, it's not as bad as it looks.
Classic Red John smiley face. Drawn in the victim's blood. Gloves with 3 fingers of his right hand.
This isn't Red John. In all the previous killings, he made sure that the first thing that anyone sees is the face on the wall. Then, and only then, do you see the body of the victim.
Jane, when you lose your virginity, you can't ever go back.
Jane made a promise.
Stop! We should stop! You've been dating for 2 years and you haven't boned.
But sometimes life...
You're pregnant.
But I've never had sex!
...makes a surprise delivery.
I accidentally inseminated you 2 weeks ago.
You what? I'm not ready to be a mom.
You have become the best part of my life, and this will be the best part of you.
Beautiful lady who puts me in this beautiful outfit, and she's in the person of Miss Blessing Lati. She is the CEO of Scenes by B, and we're going to just have a little chit chat with her before we wrap up the morning show. Hello, Miss Blessing.
Hello, Yaira.
Purple is signifying wealth and hey, it's not easy.
Thank God.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Seams by B.
Okay, so Seam by B, as the brand name is, that's my sewing, my fashion brand.
Okay.
Seam by B. So I'm on IG and I display every other thing that I've been doing. Aside this, I'll be posting this today. Yes, and even this as well. Yes, but then you can find me on IG. Yes, so basically I sew. I sew. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you started?
Well, okay, two things come to play.
Okay.
One, passion.
Okay.
Passion. You really need passion to do anything you want to do. But aside passion, let's say circumstances.
Okay.
So, circumstances, I mean, so I was in uni level 100 when I had a 3-month vacation.
Okay.
And so I went home for vacation.
Yes.
You know, and so my first exposure to sewing actually was cutting.
Okay. How to cut.
You know, it's funny. Normally, people would watch videos and all of that, but it's weird. So I saw something and I was like, let me just try my hands on it.
Okay.
So I did a cutting. It was a pencil skirt.
Okay.
So I did a cutting and then I took it to somebody, a seamstress. So she did a sewing for me and I brought it back home and my mom was like, you did this, you can't sit home these 3 months and waste time. So she was like, I should meet one of the ladies. She stays very close to our house where we used to stay here. So the 3 months, I used that 3 months to try my hands on other things. And I think one thing that I count as a blessing, she was into like apprenticeship, so she trains people.
Okay.
So she deals in like 3 years, 2 years, and like 3 months. What are you coming to do here? Yeah. So, but I think it was a blessing seeing her cut, just the experience alone, because just that exposure, seeing her cut. There's one thing watching a video, and there's another thing seeing somebody doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Do you get it? And I think that was like how do I say it? Like, that was a very big exposure for me.
Okay. So, you're basically an entrepreneur, right?
Of course, you can't say that.
Yeah. So, how has it been? How has being an entrepreneur been? What are some of the challenges and the ups and downs?
Sleepless nights.
Okay.
Of course, sleepless nights. You definitely experience sleepless nights.
Yes.
And there are days where I go like, God, who is coming next? Who is coming next? Because, I mean, I want to be doing it. You get it. And the more you keep doing it, the more better you become.
Yes.
So it's like, okay. So I've told my sister, who is next? My mother.
Yeah, finding
we'll
customers.
Grab everybody possible. My friends.
Okay.
You know? And so aside the sleepless nights, aside wondering what to do next.
Okay.
I would say internal, how do I even put it?
Dilemmas and things like that, yeah.
Conflicts within. Am I in the right space?
Yes.
Is it worth my time? I mean, I went to uni.
Yeah.
Like,
you could be doing something else. Okay.
Am I delaying in life? Sometimes I get all these thoughts. Yes,
okay.
But through it all, I think it's worth it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Definitely. I mean, look at me.
Uh-huh.
So let us view a few of Miss Blessing's works and, get you gingered to contact her. Oh, yes. So what they are showing to us, if you can give us a few words of, describe it, tell us something about them.
Okay, so this one I was trying to work on. Oh, that's a little bit fast. So the previous slide,
yes.
So I was trying to do something on, the lacing. I mean, right now that's what's trending. Everybody wants to snatch, everybody wants to look pretty and all of that. So I wanted to do something for myself, actually.
Okay.
So this is for myself. My dummy has my shape, so.
Okay, so let's go to the next one.
The next one.
The next one, yes, this one.
This is a friend.
Okay.
She actually will be wearing it to a wedding.
Okay.
So she's saving it for a special day.
Okay.
So she says.
Yeah, so this is the same, so more details about it. Okay. All right, and I think this is yours. You want to check?
Yes.
Yes, it's a pretty nice design. So, thank you so much, technical team. So yes, we at Clog TV, we want to ask you, what inspired your desire to sponsor your stream?
Okay, so you actually caught my attention on IG.
Oh, okay.
This is our secret. So you caught my attention on IG, and I remember one day thinking to myself, so when am I going to sew for someone like this?
Hey.
So, and then you remember you posted on
Yes,
this page, Coco
yes.
Digest. I was like, is that not the same lady? Oh my God, let's just take this opportunity right now.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that was how come I texted, and then she introduced me to her producers, and then the communication continued, and here we are.
Wow, thank you. So what can we expect from you moving forward?
As in?
As my sponsor for now.
Okay,
yes.
okay, so Clog TV.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to watch this space every Thursday.
And
every
Tuesdays
and Thursdays. But of course, on Thursdays, you see my hands.
Yes. Okay. All right. So can you give us your phone number so that some of my viewers who want to look like me would contact you?
Gladly.
Okay.
So 02456443884.
Hey, let's slow down.
02456443884.
Okay, so our technical team, if you can put it up on our platform, our social media platforms. So her page is Seams by B, and she will be giving you gorgeous outfits. And watch out for me every Thursday. As she said, you see her handiwork. So, Miss Blessing, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We hope to see you and discuss entrepreneurship one of these days.
Oh
Very
my
soon.
God, I'll be very willing to show up.
Yeah. So this brings us to the end of the Coco Digest Morning Show. A big thank you to you, my cherished viewers. Thank you to our guests. Thank you to our production team. A big thank you to our sponsors as well. This show would not have been a success without you. And as you go about your day, please remember to just keep that smile on your face, spread some positivity. We are in the rainy season, so please get strapped with an umbrella, raincoat. Make sure to keep safe so that in case of a flood, you don't lose your life or your property. So from the studios of Clog TV, it is a goodbye and have a blessed weekend ahead.